Good evening, accountability crew, and welcome back. This is the Accountability Project, where we condense the pain of personal growth. So, I'm at another hotel, this time in the Arlington, DC area, doing a class up here this week. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. COVID has made times unique, and the closer you get to the capital, the more unique things tend to get. But today, the science of success. This chapter is about hope. How hope leaves the space for a dream, leaves the space for a vision, allows you to dream big. Hopes are what give people the driving factor. And working in suicide prevention, I believe hope is what keeps people hanging on for one more day. Hope for a brighter future is what keeps people turning in this life. And when you remove all hope, that's when you get into a very dangerous place. But if you increase hope and have great amounts of hope, then amazing things can happen. And I wanted to share one quote from this chapter. It says, every success story with a happy ending starts with the words, quote, once upon a time, there was a man who hoped that someday, ... End quote. Yours must start the same way. How true is that? We have to have a hope. We have to have a vision. We have to have a goal. We have to have a purpose, a definite purpose in our life that we're striving towards, and a belief and hope that it will come to fruition. So next up is the power of the other. And today's chapter was talking about not just freedom, but responsibility, and how freedom comes from taking responsibility, and how sometimes that can be difficult to have those kinds of conversations sometimes with someone. And that if you have a corner for relationship with someone, you can get feedback that's constructive. But even if you're in a corner for a relationship, if your emotions are high, your amygdala takes over. And because your emotions are running so high, you can't actually receive the feedback. And as I was reading this chapter, I was thinking about our child, right? We have a 4-year-old. And if he's in a highly emotional state, trying to tell him anything is pointless. Because he's so emotionally charged, he's not going to hear it. So the first step should always be to de-emotionalize the situation, bring the emotional step down, so that we can be having an intelligent conversation, and being able to own any part that we may have played in causing this emotional situation. So if someone's hurt or offended or whatever it happens to be, to take the responsibility of the situation and say, hey, what happened here? I wasn't intending to come at you. I wasn't trying to fight with you. I wasn't trying to have any of that. I don't want our relationship damaged, and be able to bring the emotions down, but still be able to address that maybe there's a result that wasn't met, and be able to say, I don't want to damage our relationship. And I didn't mean to come across in a way that made you feel like I was attacking you at all. But I do need to know, how can I address things with you so that you don't feel attacked when I do have something that needs to be fixed? If you're not meeting a quota, if you're not meeting a result, if you're not meeting a standard that we have either within our organization or a boundary that I have with relationships, I need to be able to tell that to you in a way that you're not getting offended or taking it personal, because it's just feedback. It's not an accusation. It's just, hey, this is where you're at. I need you to shift slightly in order for this to work out. It's very important in an employer-employee relationship that the employer be able to give feedback without the employee feeling as though they're being attacked all the time. One of the things they pointed out in this chapter was they talked about sales forces and the high-performing sales forces. People get 1 to 5 on average, 1 negative to every 5 positive amount of feedback that they get. And then they looked at the lower performers and realized that the inverse was true, even to the point of getting 3 or 4 negatives for every 1 positive that they got. And so being conscious of that, if you're someone who's giving feedback, that we don't want to just give negative feedback, because that doesn't help. The more negative mindset they are in, the harder it is to actually receive the feedback. And as I was reading this, I was also thinking about my time in the military. I remember being at a certain point, like in boot camp, there's a high intensity level and people are yelling and screaming at you. But once you finish boot camp and you're in the fleet or you're in a line unit and someone's yelling at you for no apparent reason, you don't actually hear any of the feedback they've given you because you're tuning out, you're dazing out. As a teenager, when my parents would yell at me, I remember just tuning out and not even listening to it because I couldn't. I was in an emotional state again where I was being attacked, so the defense mechanism was shut down, and I don't think it was intentional, right? So we learn in high school about fight or flight, and our body's psychological fight or flight mechanism when we're being psychologically attacked or emotionally attacked is to shut down. As a teenager, I remember my father asking me, "What are you thinking?" and not being able to answer because I legitimately wasn't thinking anything at all whatsoever. If anything, I was thinking, when's he going to be done yelling at me so I can go do something else stupid? So I just wanted to share those. These chapters were impactful for me, and they had me thinking a lot. So with that, this has been the Accountability Project. We love you. Hopefully you are staying accountable. And tomorrow morning, I'm going to be doing a 3-mile run here in Arlington. Talk to you soon. Bloop.